I'm a 29-year-old white guy. My wife is 30 and black. We have 2 kids, a 3-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. My wife got pregnant with our son early in our relationship. We had only been together a year. We got married because she got pregnant. Fortunately for us, we are actually happy. When my son was born, I accepted him as mine. However, I couldn't help noticing how little he looked like me. He is noticeably darker than my wife. He doesn't look half white. My family and friends have asked if I'm sure he's mine. I had doubts, but I initially decided to trust my wife. I loved my son regardless. When our son was 2, my wife had our daughter. I had no doubt she's mine. She looks just like me, she even has my blue eyes. I never realized how powerful it is to know a child is yours. I bonded with her easier because there wasn't the question of paternity dangling over our heads. My family bonded with her faster too. Her resemblance to me convinced me that my son is not mine. I tried to always treat them equally as I see them both as my children. But I realized I was beginning to resent my son. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. I also began to resent my wife because I felt she had betrayed me. I finally got a paternity test in secret. I was relieved to learn that my son is in fact mine. Genetics are weird. Anyways, that was 4 months ago and my relationship with my wife and son improved dramatically. I feel much closer to him now that I know he's mine. My wife and I have been so happy that we were talking about a 3rd child. I confessed to my wife I got a paternity test. I hated keeping the secret and I thought she would understand given how much he doesn't look like me. She flipped out. She asked me if I ever doubted our daughter, and when I said no she called me an idiot. It's not true. I didn't prefer my daughter because of her whiter features, I just knew she was mine. She also said that I made our son feel unloved for no reason for all those years. I said that's bull. Even when I didn't believe my son was mine, I treated him as though he were. My wife says she wants to move out and take our children after the quarantine. It's been about a week and a half and I'm still on the sofa. I hoped she would have calmed down by now, but things haven't changed. She's just so furious with me for not trusting her and for, in her eyes, denying my son because he's dark. She barely talks to me unless it's about the kids. I don't want to lose my family. Here's where I turn to you. Is it so awful that I had doubts? I still took care of him. I don't understand why something like this is wrecking my marriage. I think she is overreacting. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She is absolutely not overreacting. You not only did not trust your wife, you let your ignorance get in the way of you bonding with your child. I mean, what did you think was going to happen when you had biracial children? It's not always a perfect mocha mixture of both parents. You may get that. You may get a kid who is white as a vampire or as dark as Wesley Snipes. You really need to bear with it and beg for forgiveness, and then you need to fix that ignorant way of thinking that you have. Your son is going to need you. You are the idiot. Why did you tell her about the test? What possible good could have come from it? She has every right to be mad at you. You basically told her you didn't trust her and that she must have cheated on you. Plus, you even admitted you bonded quicker with your daughter, and that your family did as well. Maybe your wife is now wondering if you and your family prefer the daughter over your son because she's not as dark as him. She has plenty to be mad about, and I don't blame her one bit. There's a lot of counseling to be done here if you want to save your marriage. You had it all, a beautiful mixed family, but let your stupidity ruin it. Why did you believe so easily that your black wife cheated on you with a black man? Why did you stand by and let your family treat your son like that? Why did you have another standard for your lighter-skinned child for loving, caring? Not even a strange kid who's just visiting has to go through that. It's straight abuse. You've treated your own child like that. You should educate yourself and earn your way back in your family. You've damaged every one of them. Update. My wife and I are separated currently. I moved out so she and the kids could stay in our home. I'm staying with my parents for now. I don't get to see my kids as often as I would like to. When I have a more stable living situation, we'll have joint custody of them. It's been very hard on me and the kids. I talk to them on the phone every night, and they both keep asking when I'm coming home. It breaks my heart that I can't answer that question. My daughter is taking it the worst. I feel awful that her world had been turned upside down by her own parents. I miss my family. I miss seeing my kids every day. I miss my wife. Our relationship has been put in limbo for now. She says she needs space to process, and doesn't know if she will be able to forgive me. I've apologized in every way that I know how to. At this point I just have to give her the space she wants and hope she calms down. It would be horrible for us to throw away what we built. If separating has been this hard on the kids, divorce is going to shatter them. She seems open to seeking couples counseling. It gives me some hope we can work past this. I admit I didn't want to hold myself accountable before. I couldn't see how my actions were subconsciously harmful to my son. It was never my intention to be an idiot, but I did treat my son differently due to his skin color when you strip it down to its roots. I realized how bad I screwed up when I felt ashamed thinking my wife has probably told her family why we separated. They used to think really highly of me. Now they all probably think I'm a huge idiot. I have no one to blame for that but myself. With all the craziness going on in the world, I know that I need to be more aware of my actions. My kids deserve to have their family to be a safe haven from terrible things. It scares me thinking about the type of world I will send them out into where they could be profiled in most places. I can't imagine if it were my son on the news instead of one of those other poor guys. I'll never let anything get in the way of my relationship with him again. Thanks all. A few details first. I am a big man. My sister is a tiny pregnant woman. Her husband is a seafarer and currently at sea. They have a boatload of money. The story: my sister has been pregnant for about 5 months. I rarely go to her house, maybe once every 3 years, and we usually see each other when she comes to see me, 2 to 3 times a year. Her pregnancy is going great. It's not one of those difficult ones where the woman is bedridden or anything. She's up and about, she even does a bit of yoga, goes shopping and so on. A few weeks ago she started complaining about how hard it is for her to do stuff around the house. Her husband has been away for work for about 2 months and won't be back until 2 weeks before the baby is due. She complained to our parents and then they suggested she ask me for help. She called me up and of course I said yes. I figured she needs some little repairs around the house, maybe clean some hard to reach places and stuff, and I said sure. I came to her place and as soon as I saw what her place looked like, I was shocked, appalled and disgusted. Her husband's been gone for 2 months, she's been pregnant for 5 months, but that house has not been cleaned in years. There was trash everywhere, dirty dishes, dust bunnies all over the place, spider webs and dust hanging off the ceilings and walls, and her couch smells like vomit. I couldn't believe my freaking eyes or knows what state her house is in. I immediately said that I'm sorry but she should hire a cleaning agency or something, because I am not dealing with that. She started crying, saying that she can't do anything, she's pregnant, and I said that her house looks like it hasn't been cleaned since 2015, not May. She said it's not true, she keeps her house clean. Am I calling her a filthy pig or something? Am I insulting her and her husband, etc.? So I just let her scream and left. My parents have called to tell me I am the biggest disappointment ever. My father said I was an idiot. My mother said she feels sorry for any woman I might be with and that I don't deserve to have a wife. Then my brother-in-law called to tell me to go screw myself and to not expect I'll ever get to see their child. I told him he should calm down and hire a cleaning agency so that his pregnant wife doesn't have to sleep in cockroach crap. He called me an idiot and hung up. The thing is, I felt fine about this until I started talking to friends. Every single one of them thinks I should help my sister out. One of them asked if I'd do it for money and I still said no. It's disgusting. I don't care that she's my sister or that she's pregnant. I described her place to them in detail, and I told them how much money she has, and they still think I should do it. Not the idiot. You shouldn't clean it. At least alone. You should support your sister, and try to make her realize what filth she lives in and then bring along your parents and all the smart friends to help along. I bet they would opt for professional cleaners in a second. And the other stuff that really worries me is in what mess this baby is coming. By the way, I'm pregnant, I work, cook and clean. My husband helps a lot. It is more difficult for me than usual, but it can be done. I almost never comment or vote, but you're being put in such an embarrassing position by your family. Emphasis on your family. It's not your responsibility to take care of her mess. If she's pregnant, the husband should have cleaned everything up beforehand. I'm expecting my first child with my wife now and the house is cleaned daily and a major cleanup on the weekends. I assign simple tasks to my wife so she can feel like she is helping. Your sister and brother-in-law have bigger issues than you not helping them clean up. Could you volunteer to find a house cleaning company for her, and then be there to oversee when they come, so she doesn't have to worry about theft or accidentally throwing away important things? I get that it's too much for you to do alone, and it really isn't your responsibility anyway, but offering to help her hire a crew would be super nice of you, and it will make life much better for the baby. Lots of families hire help to keep the house clean, especially when children are very young. You could help her find a company to do the initial deep clean, and then she can keep them coming every week or every other week. I saw my ex-girlfriend, 29, in the supermarket last week. She is employed as a cashier there. I did not recognize her at all. We broke up 7 years ago and I moved away to pursue a job opportunity. She also looks very different now. I genuinely did not remember or recognize her face. She looked kind of familiar, but for some reason I just could not remember. She started talking to me, asking me how I've been, and I was like, "Sorry, do I know you?" She got upset and said I was an idiot, and then it was awkward silence until I paid and left. Later I recalled the incident to my brother and he said it could be one of my ex-girlfriends. Then it finally triggered some memories and I realized she was my ex-GF. I deleted social media a few years back and I only have one private Instagram account that limited people can view to, so I don't keep up or stalk any of my exes. Additionally, this particular ex had gained a lot of weight since we broke up and she looked completely different from when we were dating. I saw her again this morning and told her that I wasn't purposely ignoring her, but that I just didn't recognize her at first. She said she doesn't believe that, as we were together for 3 years and it is impossible to forget someone you dated for 3 years. I pointed out that she looks very different now and she teared up and asked me to get lost. My brother says she made a Facebook post about me. When your ex says he didn't recognize you because you got too fat. The post got a lot of attention from her friends saying I was an idiot. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it turns out I did. I'm not going to approach her anymore, but I want to know, am I the idiot for not recognizing my ex-girlfriend? Edit: the face masks don't apply here because she was wearing a transparent face shield, not the face mask. All the employees serving customers in the store were wearing face shields. I was wearing a face mask, but I have a distinctive scar near my eyebrow that makes it easy for people to recognize me. I don't know why, but sorry, do I know you? Has a derisive, rude quality to it. It would have been better to say, "I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly who you are," or "I can't quite place you." She probably still would have gotten upset, but it wouldn't have sounded so rude. The safest bet would have been to just go with the conversation. Like, "Oh, I've been good. How have you been?" She wouldn't have been any the wiser. I usually just briefly converse if this ever happens to me. No one ever realizes you're lying since these interactions are quite mundane anyway. You are the idiot. Not for the first part of not recognizing her. But going back and telling her why. You didn't need to do that. You admit in your post the thing that made her unrecognizable is her weight gain. So even if that's not exactly what you said to her, she's not an idiot and can figure out what you're saying. If nothing else about her has changed but her weight, it's pretty obvious what you meant. There was no need to seek her back out. Gonna have to go with you are the idiot for pointing out her weight gain is why you don't recognize her. Sure, your words were "you look very different now" or similar, but the implication was obvious. Why would you even bring that up? The proper response was, "I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't recognize you. How have you been?" Or, "I'm sorry, I guess it's been a long time. How have you been?" Etc. Obviously you're not the idiot for not recognizing her, because you couldn't help that. But damn, you really made sure to rub it in as much as possible, didn't you? A couple weeks ago though, I saved up for a weighted blanket because I thought it would be a lot easier to deal with, and it totally was. Now I just use that blanket along with my regular comforter and sheet set. Now while I absolutely love it, I don't need it to sleep. Last week I, 17, got roped into watching my niece, 5, overnight because my sister had to work and our mom had plans. My niece has autism, which causes her to have tantrums every now and then, which is why I don't often watch her, but sometimes I have to because my sister, 23, can't always afford or find a sitter, which is why she still lives with our mom. In case it's not clear, we're actually half sisters, and half the time I them, the other half I live with my dad and stepmom. So my niece had a really hard time going to sleep. Like it was almost midnight and she was all over the place. Which is not uncommon, but I was really tired myself and just wanted to go to sleep. So I thought, why not try and use the blanket on her, because that's kind of what they're made for. Well, it worked pretty well and calmed her down and she soon fell asleep. I was a little annoyed though that I didn't have my blanket to use anymore. The next morning my sister found her with the blanket and we got to talking about them. I told her how well it worked. She didn't really believe me, so I let her use another night. My sister was very pleased by the results. So, throughout the week when my niece had 2 really bad tantrums, my sister asked if she could use the blanket. I said yes, because she just looked so exhausted herself. When she looked into buying one, she became reluctant because my niece only likes very specific things. My sister doesn't want to get her another one that she may not like, since I don't remember which brand I got. She is short on cash, so she doesn't want to have to buy multiples because honestly they can get rather expensive. I know mine was over $100 because I wanted to make sure I didn't have to deal with the beads spilling out issues that a lot of the cheaper ones have. Well, when I went back to my dad's the other night, I brought my blanket with me. My sister calls me late one night completely frazzled and asks where I left my blanket because niece just won't calm down. When I told her I had it with me at my dad's, she was upset. Not at me, just at the situation she had to deal with. Now I'm supposed to go back to my mom's today and I don't really want to bring blanket back over there, or at least sneaking it over there and saying I left it at my dad. I'm tired of not getting to use it whenever I want, and also I just don't want to share it because something about a sharing blanket all the time feels gross to me. Not the idiot, but some weighted blankets are designed for different weights, so long-term use on a large blanket on a small child can actually harm them. I can't remember what they are called, but there is a different version of a weighted blanket that is just material in a tunnel-like form. It goes all the way around the mattress so children can't push it off. They aren't actually weighted but give a similar feeling. And are cheaper. If you have the time, give it a Google and recommend to your sister. No idiots here. As you've said, your sister wasn't upset with you, she was more upset with the tantrum and working in special education. I totally get that. I don't think she's an idiot for being exacerbated in the moment, and I get that she does not have the money to invest in something of a high quality. I highly suggest she go on something like Facebook and find local support groups for parents of kids with disabilities. Not only will she be able to get recommendations for cheaper and good alternatives, she may also even find someone with an old one that could be given. You all sound like you're in a financially challenged place. She's aware of this. She's aware you get few really nice things that are yours and yours alone. The blanket is yours. You are under no obligation to let her use it. Her daughter might need one, but needing one for insomnia and anxiety is a legitimate need as well, and it was your money. When you make $0 and someone asks for your $100 item, you don't really want to give it to them.